If you're a remodeler trying to get leads, you've probably thought about the question, why should I have to pay for leads that aren't good? Yeah, that's a real question. And in fact, some of the biggest organizations on the planet are trying to answer it. Thankfully, there's one organization that actually answered it right. And that, thankfully, is Google. Now, Google created a platform called LSA ads, rather local service ads, and it is the only ad format on the entire planet where you only pay for when a call comes through that is qualified, and that is really powerful. So, local service ads is how you can pay for leads without them sucking. So if you've run LSA ads before and they suck, then the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna fix that. Now, if you're wondering what an LSA ad is simply when you search for Google for like a local search term that has an action-oriented item. So if I were to search for bathroom remodels, I'm probably not gonna get any LSA ads. What I'm gonna get LSA ads for is something that has to do with a geographic search term plus a service-based search term. So to give you an example, if I were to type into Google right now, bathroom remodel near me, what's gonna pop up on the screen right here is going to be at the very top of the page, it's gonna say sponsored results. Sponsored results are in the LSA ad format, they're gonna look very, very familiar to you, or at least they should. Because an LSA ad, all it is a sponsored Google business profile. You'll notice that the Google business profile has an extra button. On an LSA ad, you have two buttons that you can click. You can click on the call button as the customer, or you can click on the messenger button, as long as the person running the ads has that toggled on. And those are the two ways that a lead can actually interact with your business and start to determine if they want to work with you. Now, the cool thing about LSA ads is that they appear at the very top. So these hyper-local search terms, they're a little bit more rare, they're not the highest volume of search, but when people do search for them, LSA ads are extremely powerful because usually that's a very high intent search when someone's searching for the thing they want in the area that they live in. So that's what makes an LSA ad so powerful. And the reason why LSA ads are amazing for you as a remodeler is because you can be very specific in the type of searches you want to show up for. That way you don't end up with getting crappy leads. So if you've run LSA ads before and you've gotten crappy leads, the reason why is because you've probably been too general. Like your area was way too big, or your actual ad campaign was targeting random things like general contractor based stuff. If you're targeting stuff for general contractor, you're gonna get brought up for keywords like fixing my sink in my area, or changing the color of my tile. Really, really simple jobs that just aren't worth it. Whereas if you focus on the categories that you actually want jobs in, that's where you get the good leads from. The difference between an LSA ad that actually produces good leads and an LSA ad that produces bad leads actually comes down to two very clear things: what you do before you run the ad and what you do after you run the ad. Now, before you run the ad is more about the preparation. Like I said before in this video, the LSA ad or the local service ad is just a boosted or an advertising powered Google business profile. So if your Google business profile sucks, do you think your local service ad is going to be good? I can cover a turd with gold. Is it gold or is it a turd? Huh? So the whole point of a local service ad is it's just putting more eyes on something you already have. So if your Google business profile has one review and it's terribly ranked, why would Google just put you at the top of the list? They won't, unless you spend a disgusting amount of money. And even then, they want the best experience for their customers, so they still might even put you at the bottom of the list. And even if they do put you at the top of the list because you want to spend $1,000, why would a customer pick you with one goofy little review when they could pick a qualified business that has way more than you? So do you see how this works? The preparation that goes into running a good LSA ad actually has a lot more to do with where you are located, what services you're offering, and your local credibility than the budget you actually spend on the ad. Because remember, Google only gets paid if they give you what you're asking for. So the preparation is broken into 3 very simple steps. First, you need to identify a clear primary category on your Google business profile. I want to be extremely specific here. This is not picking general contractor. This is not picking home builder. This is not picking remodeler. I want you to think less about who you are and think a lot more about the jobs that you want. So instead of selecting general contractor, which is who you are, I'd much rather have you pick an example of bathroom remodeling. That's the job that people are actually searching for. Thereby, whenever you get a review for bathroom remodeling, whenever you get a lead from bathroom remodeling, the people are going to a specific profile. I've got tons of videos about this. You should go watch them. It's a big reason that ever since AI came out, it's why a lot of people are losing leads and the specialists are starting to grow. The second thing, other than getting that category locked in, is making sure that you have reviews that match-ish the people that are kind of playing in the top 5 for the LSA ads. Preferably the top 2, because that's what automatically shows up, but the top 5 are kind of what people are looking at as real options. So when you search, and just to check in your market, all you have to do is search, for example, the primary category that you're in plus the area that you're in. And by the way, the area you're in should match the address of your Google Business Profile. So for example, my office is here in Utah. I'm not gonna list my exact office because, you know, security. But I'm gonna put my area plus bathroom remodeling. Now, when I do that, up here is gonna pop up the LSA ads. And inside the LSA ads, I can actually see who's winning, who's showing up at the top, how many reviews do they have, how long have they been in business, what name is their business, why are they so good at what they're doing. My guess is if your market's anything like mine, those top couple companies are gonna be kind of like Goliaths. A lot of people search for these things, and the people that win at local service ads, my goodness, do they get lots of leads. But you have to approach this from the right perspective. If you have 4 reviews and you're in the top 3, do you think customers are even going to pick you? If I could wave my magic bippity-boppity-boo marketing wand and just touch you once and suddenly you're in the top 3. A lot of marketers forget that customers actually have brains, and the customer has no reason to pick what is perceived as a crappy business. Even if you have 4 5-star reviews and the company in front of you has 5,000 4-star reviews, who'd you pick? My guess, the one with more quantity of reviews, because it speaks to authority more than your couple of reviews does. Does that make sense? So first we have category, second we have reviews, and the last one that most people forget about, your Google Business Profile should be anti-AI. Now, what I mean by this is that in a world of AI, it's really hard to generate trust with people. So when you go to people's Google Business Profile, a lot of the time you're gonna run into Google Business Profiles that have like really template images, sometimes even AI generated images. Oh my goodness, if you have AI generated images on your Google Business Profile, you need to remove them immediately. Go do a job for free, eat the cost for, you know, someone locally, or, you know, at cost maybe, because remodeling, obviously doing a job for free would be like $1 bajillion. You know, maybe don't charge for labor, and use that as like a photo dump and get a whole bunch of real photos from them. And then more importantly, there are photos of your team and of you that would help the person that's looking at your profile to actually pick you. We call this the Google Business Profile facelift. So instead of making it look like a faceless company, if you're a small guy in the area compared to some of the big Goliaths, what is the one way you can actually beat them? By being the super hyper personable small business that some people want to work with. Not everybody, some people do want to work with the big Goliath, but when you're the small remodeler in the area, own it, right? Own the fact that you can put a selfie video of you saying, hey, I'm Ben from Maps Machine Remodeling. I wanted to introduce you to my team right over here and kind of walk you through a project that we just did. Can you imagine how powerful that would be if it's on the Google Business Profile and someone was considering working for you? Or working with you, sorry. I guess working for you too. But anyways, the whole point I'm trying to say is that when we build a profile, we need to keep it in the customer's mind, not just in Google's mind. And that's the parity that most of these SEO companies are missing, is that they're doing a great job with the SEO, but they're not doing a great job matching it with customer behavior. So that's the third thing, is to make sure we're building the profile for the customer, not for Google. When you do these 3 things, then all you have to do is fill out Google's verification guide for LSA, which takes a couple minutes. Once you get verified, then you just build out the campaign and run. And the cool thing is that's really simple, because all you're doing, again, is putting budget behind your Google Business Profile. You're not like writing ads. You're not doing all the complicated creative that Meta Ads requires. You're just saying, Google, I want this type of lead in this area. Use my profile. Boost. And off you go to the races. So those are the things you can do to turn an LSA ad from being crappy and generating crappy leads to being good and generating good leads. Now, once that glorious lead comes in, now LSA ads can give you a lead in one of 2 ways, and you can toggle this inside of the campaign. You can pick the call button, which is when someone literally just they click call on the LSA ad. It used to actually be on the Google Business Profile, but that deleted because Google is a company and they need to steal your money. But there's a call button, and then there's the message button. I would actually enable both. And this is the part that almost every remodeler I talk to hears, but they don't do anything about. When you turn on LSA ads, Google is occasionally going to test you. They're going to call you, and if you miss one of these calls, they're just going to punish you. Because again, Google wants to keep people on their platform. If someone searches for your business, or if someone searches for something that your business can provide, and Google chooses to put you in front of that customer, then that customer calls you. If you miss that call, how do you think that makes Google look? So the first thing you need to do once we have the campaign live is make sure you or an employee or a system is in place to make sure that you are on the phone. Now, I know that that can be a pain because you're probably getting 15 cold calls a day. You're probably so tired of it. And I wish I could tell you that there was a way to fix that. Welcome to the game. You're playing. And the tools that can help you fix that are sometimes going to filter out those Google calls. My recommendation is to build a process to deal with the cold callers, and then, more importantly, build a process for the leads that come through. I know that that's not the news you want to hear, but it's the news that my biggest clients share with me. They never spent hours trying to figure out how to not get the cold callers to call them. They never spent tons of money trying to filter them out. What they did is they picked up the phone and closed the real leads. When you combine the preparation that we talked about in this video with the quality of the Google business profiles, if you want to check out one of those videos, you got them on my channel, you got them in my profile, you got to go see the videos on Google business profiles. But if you have the preparation, a proper profile, and making sure you actually pick up the phone, Google LSA ads can lead to a disgusting amount of leads. If you want a couple qualified jobs a month, you can do that with SEO alone. If you want to get from 2 to 5 calls up to like 30 to 50 calls, the only thing that's going to do that without substantial risk is Google LSA ads. Now again, there are other platforms that can get you this many leads, like Meta or Instagram, Google PPC ads. There's all these other things, but those have a lot of risk because they don't refund you if the lead is bad. That's my little bonus tip and the coolest thing about Google LSA. If you pick up that phone and someone's like, hey, can I work for you? Well, that's not a lead. Google's actually going to refund you the money. So why do I like Google LSA so much? It's fantastic to take the existing local credibility that you have and put it on a pedestal so that tons of people can see it and call you without associating a lot of risk. That's why Google LSA ads is the best opportunity for advertising for all remodelers, as long as you have a good local presence. Now, if you want to figure out how to actually build that Google business profile, like I mentioned just a second ago, I have a ton of content on that. Go ahead and go to my YouTube channel or click around if you're already here. I don't keep anything back. If you want to do it yourself, absolutely all power to you. I want to make sure I give you all the tools necessary to actually do that. If you don't want to do it yourself and you just passionately hate logging into Google and just the idea of doing marketing just is the worst, I'd love for you to book a call with my team and see if it would be a good fit for us to install our full Maps Machine system in the next 30 days for you. And if it doesn't work, we give you your money back. Now, that doesn't work for everyone, which is why we'd love to see a quick application come through, and we'll be super transparent with you. If it can work, we'll love to make you an offer. If it doesn't work, it is what it is. Mutually beneficial to say no. I hope this helps, and I'll see you on the next one.